Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking something we literally all experience, but, rarely actually understand. We're diving into the messy, magical, and totally scientific life cycle of love. We're going to look at the hard data and the psychological research behind exactly how two people meet, connect, and most importantly, stay together. So, is love just a total roll of the dice? Are we all just waiting around, hoping to get randomly struck by Cupid's arrow? Or can you actually scientifically engineer a connection? Can you truly make someone fall in love with you? To answer that, we're going to follow this roadmap. 1. The spark. 2. The chase. 3. Your brain on love. 4. The 36 questions. 5. Surviving the power struggle. And finally, 6. Building lasting intimacy. Kicking things off with Section 1, the spark of attraction. Science actually tells us that attractiveness is highly controllable. It's really not just about winning the genetic lottery. Harvard research shows that having an upright, expansive posture, kind of standing proud like a lobster, instantly signals confidence. Couple that with consistent grooming, which evolutionarily signals good health and genetic fitness, and then simply throw on a red shirt. Seriously, studies repeatedly show wearing red boosts how attractive people think you are. Do these things and you're instantly head of the pack. But what happens once you start talking? Well, the absolute ultimate dating strategy is the 70-30 rule. If you want to be incredibly attractive, you should be spending 70% of your time actively listening and only 30% speaking. Research from social psychologists completely backs this up. Conversational ability, specifically being genuinely curious and engaged with the other person, strongly correlates with perceived attractiveness. Basically, listen twice, talk once. Now, here's one of my absolute favorite psychological quirks: the misattribution of arousal. If you want to accelerate that spark, take your date somewhere exciting or even a little scary, like a roller coaster or a thrilling movie. See, the human brain is actually surprisingly bad at figuring out why the heart is racing. It often misreads that physical arousal from fear or adrenaline as intense romantic attraction toward the person you're with. Although, maybe avoid actual bear chases just to be safe.
Moving right along to Section 2, the thrill of the chase.
So a really crucial point to understand here is that while the biological drive to connect is completely universal, the actual expression of the chase varies wildly depending on where you are. Just look at the differences between Western and Iranian dating norms. In the West, things are very direct, right? You got dating apps, casual dates, and public affection. But in Iranian culture, romance is navigated through much more complex etiquette. For example, looking down modestly, which is known as sarbazir, isn't a lack of interest at all. It's actually seen as a highly attractive trait that indicates a focused, reliable, and respectful partner. But whether you're in Tehran or New York, human brains are totally addicted to the unpredictable. The thrill of the chase so often involves that classic hot and cold behavior. When someone is inconsistently responsive to us, our brain's reward system literally goes into overdrive trying to win their affection. This is known as intermittent reinforcement. But it is so vital to remember that this dynamic only builds exhausting intensity. It doesn't build genuine intimacy. And honestly, no amount of intensity can substitute for the deep safety of someone who actually chooses to stay.
Let's jump into Section 3, your brain on love.
All right, let's take a look under the hood and see what's actually happening to your neurochemistry when you fall head over heels. Because love isn't just one single emotion, it's a whole sequence of neurochemical systems. The very early stages are driven by primary sex hormones like testosterone and estrogen, which fuel physical lust. But long-term attachment, that relies on an entirely different system powered by oxytocin and vasopressin. These are the cuddle chemicals that promote social bonding, security, and protective behavior. But sandwiched right between those two phases is that romantic infatuation period, known clinically as limerence. And wow, your brain here is just a chaotic cocktail. Your serotonin levels actually drop, which mirrors obsessive-compulsive disorder. That completely explains why you literally can't stop thinking about your crush.
On top of that, your cortisol spikes, giving you that stressed, nervous butterfly feeling. And massive hits of dopamine just keep you entirely addicted to their presence. In fact, biological anthropologist Dr. Helen Fisher actually put people who were in the early stages of love into an fMRI machine, and the results were wild. When they looked at a photo of their partner, the dopamine-rich ventral tegmental area, which is a key part of the brain's reward system, just lit up. The neural signature is remarkably similar to a cocaine high. It's a hugely intense, metabolically expensive state for your body to be in. Which brings us to section 4, the 36 questions. So, knowing exactly how this chemistry works, can we hack the system to intentionally build a deep connection? Well, back in 2015, Mandy Lancatron wrote a viral article about trying a very specific psychological experiment with an acquaintance, and guess what? They ended up falling in love. Her ultimate takeaway was incredibly empowering. She realized that love isn't just a lucky accident that happens to you, it's an action. It's built through deliberate, conscious choice. This experiment she tried was actually designed by psychologist Arthur Aron, and it takes exactly 45 minutes to work through a set of 36 specific questions with another person. They're designed to force sustained, escalating, and reciprocal self-disclosure. You start with simple small talk and end up sharing deep, personal vulnerabilities. And the whole thing is followed by 4 uninterrupted minutes of silent eye contact. By opening up at the exact same pace, you rapidly accelerate the feelings of intimacy that would usually take months to form naturally. Now, looking at this timeline, let's see how this all builds in the real world. That initial dopamine-fueled merge phase, whether it's sparked naturally or accelerated by 36 questions, is beautiful, but it absolutely cannot last forever. Our bodies literally cannot sustain that neurochemical high. As the fog eventually lifts, usually around the 6-month to 2-year mark, we inevitably transition into the most dangerous phase of any relationship, the power struggle. Section 5, surviving the power struggle. Okay, this is the phase where the honeymoon abruptly ends, and you finally see your partner without those chemical rose-colored glasses. Suddenly, those charming quirks become deeply annoying. Differences emerge, conflict happens, and old attachment wounds start to surface. A lot of couples panic right here, thinking they've fallen out of love or made a terrible mistake. But the crucial takeaway is this. This clash is a perfectly normal, absolutely necessary biological transition. It's a feature, not a bug. You are finally seeing each other clearly, and you have to decide if you can navigate those real differences together. And that leads us to section 6, building lasting emotional intimacy. If you can survive that power struggle by learning to repair conflicts and accept each other's flaws, you get to transition into this final and definitely most rewarding stage. To really thrive in this mature stage of love, relationship expert Dr. John Gottman says you need to view your partnership as an emotional bank account. Every single time your partner tries to connect with you, whether it's a sigh, a quick question, or a joke, they are making an emotional bid. When you turn towards that bid by engaging with them, you make a deposit. And these deposits build up a massive reserve of trust and goodwill that actively protects you against future conflicts. So, how do you actually keep this account in the black? Well, you actively choose to support their bids. You hold hands and give hugs, which physically releases that bonding oxytocin we talked about earlier. You practice open communication without any judgment. You learn their specific love language, whether that's acts of service or words of affirmation. And you create simple connection rituals, like a consistent Sunday morning breakfast or a quick nightly recap, just to build predictable everyday safety.
The ultimate secret of long-term relationships, as highlighted by Psychology Today, is that you never actually arrive at perfect love. It just doesn't happen. It's an ongoing apprenticeship. Because both you and your partner will inevitably continue to grow and change, you simply have to commit to constantly staying curious and learning about the ever-evolving person sitting right across from you.
So, as we wrap up this explainer today, I really want to leave you with this final thought. The next time you're out there navigating the complex, beautiful world of dating and relationships, ask yourself, are you just endlessly chasing the chaotic, unpredictable intensity of a dopamine spark? Or are you finally ready to do the daily, intentional work required to build the enduring, steady flame of an oxytocin bond? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.